Early in our unit on personal and opinion essays, students participate in a session called Essay Structure Bootcamp. Working with a partner, students read and observe the pattern and structure of a sample essay. The teacher begins by modeling, noticing something about the essay, and pointing out to the students that this is part of the structure. Students then turn and talk to discover the next pattern that they notice in the essay. During the work time, students work with a partner to completely read the essay and listing as many patterns and noticings as they have about the structure. One common misconception is that students pay more attention to the content of the essay, specifically the topic itself, in this case, the 4th of July, rather than noticing that there is a pattern on which the author of the essay presents and organizes the information. Teachers during the work time should lean in to help coach students to prevent them from focusing on the specific content of this essay rather than trying to come up with an overall structure in which essayists organize their information for their readers. One of the first things that students will notice is that the essay is organized into 5 distinct paragraphs. The first paragraph is the introduction, followed by 3 body paragraphs, and then finally a concluding paragraph. Once students have noticed the 5-paragraph structure, they can then dig deeper into each of the paragraphs and notice how they are structured themselves. In the introductory paragraph, students should notice that the writer begins with trying to engage the reader or hook the reader. When we go back and take a look at each of these paragraphs and begin to practice writing our own and trying to organize the information in a similar way, students will have reference sheets in which to help them. One such reference sheet, which we will refer to later, is the hook. The hook is the way that the writer is trying to engage the reader and get the reader to continue to read the essay all the way through. The second thing that students should notice is that immediately after the hook, the writer tries to present or preview the main ideas that they are going to talk about. Students should already have noted that there are 3 body paragraphs and that each body paragraph will focus on one main idea. In this sample essay, we can see that the first main idea, the weather is almost always perfect for a day at the beach, will be the first body paragraph. Backyard barbecues get my mouth watering will be the second body paragraph. And the third body paragraph will be organized around the main idea of fireworks exploding across the night sky are spectacular. Finally, students should notice that an introductory paragraph is going to end or conclude with the thesis statement. Ending the introductory paragraph in this way is quite powerful and helps to anchor the introductory paragraph and prepare the reader to follow through and see how this can be supported, this thesis statement can be supported with main ideas. Now, the pattern that students should notice about a body paragraph will be similar for all 3 body paragraphs, not just each one in particular. There is a general structure for a body paragraph. First, body paragraphs invariably begin with a main idea sentence. There are some cases in which this is not evident, as the writer may have tried to engage the reader at the beginning of each of the paragraphs. But a very authoritative voice in an essay will begin each body paragraph with a main idea sentence that tells the reader what they are going to focus on within that paragraph. Please notice that this main idea sentence begins with a transitional phrase. Transitional phrases help to link the main ideas together and indicate to the reader that the writer is going to introduce something new. Following the main idea sentence, we see that the writer is going to elaborate on the main idea by providing description in this case. Other ways in which the writer can elaborate on the main idea include providing examples, citing texts, sharing an anecdote or short story, or in this case, describing quite vividly, including the use of some other kinds of author's craft that may typically not be seen in nonfiction writing. In this case, we have, following our main idea sentence about going to the beach, the weather is beautiful on the 4th of July to go to the beach. The writer has elaborated by saying that's why spending the day surfing is a great way to celebrate the 4th of July. Last year, we strapped our surfboards onto the roof of our car and headed to Daytona. The waves were incredible. Reflecting the sun's golden beams, the surface of the water looked like it was studded with diamonds. Notice the simile here. I paddled out past the breakers and waited patiently for the perfect swell. Hopping onto my board, knees bent, arms out straight for balance, I caught the wave. Riding a curl feels amazing. The power of the water shoots you toward the shore. With the wind in my hair and a salty mist on my skin, I'm flying. Surfing at the beach is one of the reasons the 4th of July is my favorite holiday. Beginning writers of essays should notice the structure of this main idea paragraph. That includes the main idea sentence at the beginning, the description, including a little bit of author's craft in this case, which makes you feel like you are there. This is an anecdote that is slanted to show that the author is feeling much joy and why the 4th of July is their favorite holiday. But please notice the way in which this body paragraph concludes. The concluding sentence in each of the body paragraphs should remind the reader of two things. First, the reader should be reminded what the author has been discussing in the main idea paragraph. And second, the writer should link that somehow to the thesis statement. Basically, the author is attempting here to demonstrate how this main idea supports the thesis. In this particular case, the author has been talking about surfing, and spending the day surfing at the beach is one of the reasons the author has chosen the 4th of July to be their favorite holiday. This pattern is repeated in each of the body paragraphs, each of them focusing on one of the main ideas which was mentioned in the introduction, in the order in which it was mentioned in the introduction. And each should conclude, again, with a sentence that restates what has been talked about in that paragraph and how it is a support of the thesis statement. At the end of the essay, beginning writers should notice that the conclusion is going to basically mirror the introduction. However, the order in which the information is placed is slightly different. In the concluding paragraph of the essay, the writer begins by restating the thesis statement. In this particular sample, the writer says, "By now you can see why I wish it were the 4th of July every day." This is a restatement of the thesis. Then the author again reminds the reader of everything that they have talked about, basically the three main ideas. No new information is introduced here in the conclusion, and the main ideas are not elaborated on. Simply they are repeated. Hopefully, in a more advanced writer, they will be able to restate the same main idea using different words. so that we don't have a repeating pattern that becomes predictable. In this particular case, the weather almost guarantees a surfing adventure is a restatement of the first main idea paragraph. Devouring delicious dishes at my family's backyard barbecue is always a culinary masterpiece is a restatement of the second main idea in the second body paragraph. And finally, fireworks exploding across the canvas of a night sky create a stunning show of color is a restatement of the third main idea that appears in the third body paragraph. The essay itself concludes with what we call a call to action. In this case, it is a question. What is your favorite holiday? The call to action is designed to give the reader something to either think about or something to do, an action in which to act upon. It may call upon the reader to observe something the next time they're at the zoo, or write a letter to their congressman to complain about a pothole in the road, or perhaps just to think about or share their favorite holiday. Hopefully this video will give you an overview of what is expected of writers at the beginning of our unit of study on personal and opinion essays.